Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new content.
Episode 359. You tricked me. Minnie led a large group of people towards the courtyard of the Angler family. Along the way, Gummy asked Donnie in surprise, "Didn't you bring some people to train? Actually, our stronghold was set up here to prevent people from finding out. Can you think of our stronghold set up here?" Gummy suddenly understood and felt that it made sense. But she also felt that those people did not seem to care about who Donnie was. She always felt that there was something strange about it. So she called Angelina to confirm this matter, but no one answered on the phone. Thinking about the relationship between Donnie and Zach, and thinking about the relationship between Zach and Angelina, Gummy felt relieved. Since Zach was the potential heir of the Marquez family, then there was nothing to worry about. It seemed like the Angler family was the most powerful force in Canada, but the Angler family was not as powerful as the Ursa family. Furthermore, the Marquez family was here tonight, which was stronger than both of them. After figuring this out, Gummy no longer hesitated. Since Donnie was the representative of Zach, they would follow his instructions. A group of people and countless vehicles charged towards the manor of the Angler family. At this time, the third son of the Angler family, Mark Angler, was enjoying the performance of a famous singer in his own villa. He liked this singer's voice. Her singing was very pleasant, so he thought that since she had a good voice, it would be good to have her perform for him. But just as he was enjoying it, there was suddenly a gunshot outside. As someone who had played with guns before, he knew very well the difference between gunshots and firecrackers. Mark Angler quickly took out his gun and rushed out of the room. When he rushed out of the room, he found that the roof had a large hole in it. The guards at the entrance that were in charge of guarding the manor were gone. The manor had been attacked by a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. Mark Angler was stunned. Under the lead of 100 fully armed men, the defense of the manor could not even withstand a single blow. Mark Angler held a pistol in his hand, facing several automatic rifles. He could not hold it anymore, so he simply raised his hand and threw the gun. But he did not surrender so cleanly. He even shouted loudly, "I am under the protection of Master Holden! You can't kill me!" Coincidentally, Gummy was nearby. When she heard this, she was stunned. She didn't understand why there was a matter regarding the Mann family in this place. When she wanted to ask, Donnie had already arrived in the front of Mark Angler before him. "Call Holden." Mark Angler didn't know he had been stabbed until he felt cold along his abdomen. Donnie's dagger was hilt deep in Mark's stomach, and there was a lot of blood. He knew he should not ask why, but call his master and beg for mercy. Mark Angler quickly took out his mobile phone, which was trembling, and called Holden. "Master, save me! Save our Angler family!" At this time, Holden had just arrived home. Initially, he was annoyed by Mark Angler's phone call, but he did not expect to hear about this matter. He asked in surprise, "Tell me slowly, what happened to your Angler family?" He didn't care about Mark Angler's life or death. He just wanted to know what happened to the Angler family. Because the Angler family was the first step for him to gather his forces. His plan was to make the Mann family the leader of both family assets. He wanted to attract a few subsidiary families and eventually form the Purple Dawn Alliance. With the Mann family as the absolute leader, he wanted to make the other families submit to him. Of course, this was not a simple matter. It would take more than 10 years or even dozens of years to do this. The Angler family was the first step of his plan. But now, just as this kid was about to land, he was about to be pulled out. Who was so bold? Zach? Didn't he return to the U.S.? Episode 360, The Head of the Angler Family. After that, under Mark Angler's trembling and crying, Holden finally understood the gist of what had happened. He knew that if the opponent dared to target the Angler family like this, then the chess piece that he had set up would definitely be finished. Therefore, right now, he wanted to know who was the one who did this, and who dared to pull out the chess piece that his Holden had set up. When he asked Mark Angler about it, Mark Angler said painfully, "I don't know. You deserve to die. If I was the one who stabbed you to death, you piece of trash, don't you know that the person who knew about the deal we made wouldn't know about your need to make a call? Who told you to call me? Give the phone to him!" Only then did Mark Angler react. He quickly handed the phone to Donnie. Donnie took the phone and asked while smoking, "Hello, Master Holden, right? My boss asked me to tell you that he was very dissatisfied with the Angler family's decision to withdraw the assets from Canada. So he changed the head of the Angler family to Minnie. My boss also asked me to tell you that he is not in the country right now. Yes, that's all my boss asked me to tell you. He's enough to piss you off. Goodbye, young Master Holden. Good night. What a dream." Donnie was also angered to the extreme, but he didn't want to pay with his life. Now that things had become like this, where would Holden get a good night's sleep and a good dream? He couldn't sleep at all. When he heard the other party's arrogant words, Holden was so angry that his teeth itched. With a bang, he threw the phone away. He was worried that Zach would make a move, so he had been keeping an eye on Mason and Taylor's forces in Canada. But he never thought that Angelina, who had collaborated with him to rob Zach previously, would actually make a false accusation this time. She directly hooked up with Zach and brazenly sent someone to slap his face. He had just put his face in the Angler family, but in the end, his face was smashed into pieces by someone. Holden was very angry. He took out a cigar and wanted to smoke it to extinguish the fire, but in the end, he could not even find a lighter. After a series of random kicks, the furniture in the room had all fallen to the ground. But even so, Holden still could not vent the anger in his heart. This time, he had been scammed miserably. What he had been scammed wasn't a chess piece, nor was it an Angler family. It was something even more important: trust. At this moment, Mark's face was covered in blood. When he tried to resist, he was smacked across the face with the butt of a gun. A subordinate went forward to report to Minnie. "Miss Minnie, Mark's family of 13 has been captured." It was very neat and tidy. Not one less. Minnie knew that it would not be less, because tomorrow was Mark's birthday. As his family, of course, they had to rush back in advance to celebrate the family head's birthday. Minnie also took advantage of this opportunity, and with the help of Zach's subordinates, she wiped out Mark's entire family. The blade in her right hand, which was more than a meter long, was dragged on the ground. Sparks flew. When she came to Mark, who was forced to kneel, Minnie calmly asked him, "Do you remember what happened 10 years ago?" Mark was also an outstanding person. He didn't show the slightest bit of fear. "Since I did it back then, I have already made preparations to return it today." Minnie nodded her head and waved her hand fiercely. Mark began to regret how good it would be if he did not do the thing that harmed his own brother back then. On the other side, Minnie started to kill people with her sword. Gummy was shocked and quickly asked Donnie about the Mann family. Why was the Angler family the one they had attacked tonight? What is the Marquez family trying to do? Gummy realized the seriousness of this matter and started to think of withdrawing her people and parting ways with the Marquez family. Donnie, on the other hand, put his arm around her shoulder and said happily, "Don't make decisions for your master. What if the Ursa family gets killed because of your decision? Of course, you can leave with your men now. It doesn't matter. But the fact that the Ursa family is responsible for cleaning the place has become a fact. So, once you choose to leave, that means that the Ursa family will have to bear the pressure of the Mann family alone. The Marquez family on our boss's side obviously doesn't matter. They can handle it. The Ursa family, it's too much." Donnie's proud attitude made Gummy especially angry, and now was not the time to investigate these things, so she hurriedly tried to call Angelina again. Fortunately, it was finally connected this time. "Miss Angelina, we were cheated. Zach didn't ask us to train him. He led us to overturn the Angler family." Since yesterday afternoon, Zach basically hasn't done anything else. He was always with her. But when she heard Gummy's words on the phone, Angelina was stunned. After Gummy finished talking about the meal, she foolishly hung up the phone and angrily stared at Zach. "Zach, you dare to cheat me?" Angelina was really angry.
Whoa, this is my boss man? Wow.
Episode 361, Your Achievements. The men led by Gummy went and took down the Angler family. Angelina knew that Holden had just visited the Angler family's leader a few days ago. This was the respect that the Mann family gave the Angler family. From the very beginning, she had sent someone to slap the face on the ground and break it into pieces. This was no longer an accident or something that could be explained. Even if her matter was explained clearly, the Mann family did not need it. There was no longer any reason for this matter to be explained or not. The established fact was that everyone knew that the Ursa family had launched a subversive action against the Angler family, and it was because they did not care about the reputation of the Mann family. Even if she, Angelina, went to apologize and admit her mistake, it would not help. Therefore, Angelina was very angry. "I treat you as someone I can trust, but why did you set me up?" Zach knew that he had done it, so he leisurely smoked his cigarette. "Since you treat me as the person you trust the most, then we should just fight side by side. Why would I harm you?" Angelina was very annoyed by Zach's shamelessness. She argued, "It is not a matter of that. It is not the same logic. We cannot confuse them." Zach suddenly realized that according to what you mean, as the person you trust, just listen to your own words. You shout, "My king!" Don't look for me when you are in trouble, because you will come with other people to attack me. Don't look for me when you are in trouble, because you want to keep your family out of trouble, right? If that is the case, then what is the use of me asking you, Angelina, to wait for you to stab me in the back at any time? Zach's questioning made Angelina speechless. She was in the wrong about the previous matter. Now that she asked this question, she was even more at a loss as to how to answer. Although she knew the answer very well, and that the family was the most important, she was unable to say it out loud. Zach also knew that she was unable to say it out loud, which was why he had asked this question. After that, Zach continued, "Angelina, I have treated you well. I am willing to risk my life to save you. but the knife you gave me at the critical moment was truly satisfying. So we are even now. We will go our separate ways in the future. If you are willing to apologize to the Mann family, you can do so, as long as they are willing to accept it. How could he accept it? His face had been slapped. This was no longer something that could be controlled by benefits. Therefore, the only way was to form an alliance with the Marquez family. Only when the two families were completely united would they ignore the existence of any other family. Angelina was still angry, but she did not lose her reasoning. The Marquez family had money, and their family had weapons. When these two families worked together, it would be totally brutal. Therefore, Angelina could only agree. She said to Zack, You are deliberately taking revenge on me. You purposely dug a pit to harm me, forcing me to get on your private ship. Zack smiled and said, You are right. This is the price of you making small movements behind my back. Whether it's you or Holden, I will never allow anyone to do little tricks behind my back. Never! Angelina pondered in silence and finally nodded. She was not sure whether this was the right path or not, but from the looks of it, there would not be any other family that would dare to oppose them. Even if they had just slapped the Mann family in the face, the Mann family could only watch helplessly and endure it, because her family was no stronger than the pure Ursa family. There was still the Marquez family behind her. When these two colossal families joined forces, their power would be extremely fierce. After returning to her manor, Minnie placed all the heads of Mark's family in front of the tribute table. At this time, she was covered in blood as she knelt on the ground and cried loudly, Father, Mother, I have finally avenged you. Other than that, Minnie really could not say anything else. The scenes from back then resurfaced in her mind. The bloody night from 10 years ago was still vivid in her mind. What should be returned? Although it was 10 years late, it was still returning the favor in the end. Minnie also knew very clearly in her heart that it was all thanks to Zack. If it wasn't for Zack, she wouldn't have been able to successfully take revenge. Mark's manor's lack of security was only triggered at those well-trained and well-equipped subordinates of Zack. For Minnie, it would be very difficult for her to fight her way in. However, they had done it tonight. Not only did they fight their way in, they had also captured Mark's entire family. This also allowed Minnie to finally settle the great hatred in her heart. After leaving the room where they were worshipping, Minnie looked for Donnie. Mr. Donnie, thank you very much for your help tonight. Donnie quickly waved his hand. He knew Minnie was being polite, but he did not dare to take credit for it. I didn't do anything. It was the boss who arranged it. Then he introduced Gummy. This is Mrs. Gummy from the Ursa family. She brought everyone here tonight. She is the most intelligent and brave hero under Miss Angelina. Donnie wore a tall hat, which made Gummy feel good. But this does not stop me from being disappointed in you, a liar. I will kick your butt hard. As a former friendly partner, Gummy glared at Donnie. However, she could not ignore Minnie's greeting. She quickly greeted Minnie politely. After all, Minnie's identity had changed. She was no longer Miss Minnie, but the master of the Angler family. It was just like how Mark's subordinates roared after cleaning up the manor. The master of the Minnie family will win! It did not matter whether she won or not, but Minnie knew very well that the things that belonged to her father had all been taken back with Zack's help.